Hello, beautiful people. I'm Alexi. I'm a psychotherapist in the state of Oklahoma and a spiritual psychology coach online. I am coming to you today to talk to you about this thing called catastrophizing, and that is a real word. It's a real term from the field of psychology, and we'll get into it in just a little bit. Before we do, I just want to say a few words. As human beings, every single one of us participates in some kind of distorted cognition or distorted way of thinking, negative thinking. We all participate in this on some level, to some extent, in some way, shape, or form. Some of us have created habits so we can more easily recognize when we are participating in these negative distortions. Sometimes we've created these patterns and habits and we're so used to it that we don't even think twice about it. It's just autopilot, and it can be hard to identify these things. However, these ways of thinking are not helpful. They do not serve us. They do not serve the people around us and in our world, and therefore they do not serve the world in general. So that is why I'm coming to you and sharing what some of these different distorted cognitions are, because I think it is so important for every human being on this planet to know what they are, because you cannot change something unless you see it, right? You can't, come on, common sense. You can't change something unless you know it exists, that it's there, and that it needs changing. So I just want to share these things and raise your awareness level of yourself and the way that you think. We don't always go around thinking about how we're thinking. So I want to challenge you a little bit and encourage you to start doing that. Start paying attention to the thoughts that you're having. Start paying attention to what you are thinking, what you're thinking about, where those thoughts are coming from. And we can kind of dive more into that in a later video as well. So let's dive into catastrophizing today. Again, real word. So basically, catastrophizing is when something happens and you make it a bigger deal than it actually is. The term making a mountain out of a molehill. There are real catastrophes that happen in life. We lose loved ones. There are major life tragedies. There are national tragedies. There are global tragedies, right? So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, for example, let's say you wake up this morning, you go out to your car, and you have a flat tire. This is a major inconvenience. This can be stressful because now you are short on time and you need to spend extra money and energy fixing this problem that you did not allot time, money, and energy for, and it is a surprise, right? Nobody is harmed. Nobody is hurt. Nobody is dying in this situation. The world is not ending. And yet, when something unplanned like this happens, and it's a negative event, it can hit that nerve in us that goes, my day is ruined. Everything is trashed. This is the worst thing in the world. And our emotions tell us that, right? Remember, sometimes your emotions lie. They do not always tell the truth. They are not always rational. So please remember that. My little dog, I don't know if you could hear him sigh, but he just had a little sigh. Okay. So that is what catastrophizing is, when you make a bigger deal out of something than it needs to be. Back to the flat tire. Again, I want to acknowledge that is a stressful situation. When something like that happens, I want to encourage you, instead of letting it hit that nerve and running with that and letting your emotions go crazy all over the place, because you do have a choice in whether you do that or not. You might not realize that yet, but you do have a choice in that. And as you practice paying attention to these things, you will see that more, and you will see opportunities to take the power back over your emotions to control them and not let them control you. That is a practice. You practice it, you get better at it the more you practice. Okay. So where was I going with that? Oh yes, do this instead. The flat tire. Okay, I didn't plan for this. I'm feeling very stressed out about it. Honor the feelings that are coming up. Honor them, acknowledge them, allow yourself to feel them, right? Notice what's coming up, right? But don't feed into the things that are coming up, right? Notice what's coming up. Oh my gosh, my day is ruined. Is my day ruined? Is it really ruined? This is one hiccup in the day, and I can solve this problem. And then you can start to turn your thinking around and go, okay, this is stressful. This was not planned for, but it's figure outable. I can handle this. I can get it taken care of. I can breathe through this process and move on. I want to encourage you to try that. It might not be a flat tire. It might be something smaller. It might be something bigger. It might be something completely different. Whatever it is, when you notice those things happening this week, I want you to take a deep breath, slow down, pay attention, acknowledge the feelings that are coming up, honor them, feel them, but do not feed into them. Let them go. And I will definitely talk more about that in a later video as well, because I know that can sound a little confusing and a little abstract. How do I do that though? We'll get into that in another video for sure. Until then, I hope you have a terrific week, a wonderful, wonderful week. And I want you to remember that you are amazing, you are wonderful, you are beautiful, you are enough just as you are in this exact moment. I love you all, and I'll talk to you soon.